Welcome, everyone, to Lights Out Presents Ranked. New little get-together with me and some friends. And, welcome to the show. It's a fun time here with some friends. We're going to rank some MCU Disney Plus shows. Last week, let me turn my camera back on. Last week, we did the movies. Now we're going to do the TV shows. And I got a couple people with me. Got one person returning. One person, JPO is not going to make it. He said, I did not watch them all, so I wouldn't be any good. I still think you're amazing, JPO. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring in one of my, man, I am glitchy. I like it. I kind of don't. I don't know. I do got my American Dragon t-shirt on. So anyway, hello, everybody. I'm going to bring in our first player, I'm so used to trivia. Our first panel member. He is the owner of Mesa Media, and he is all over the place in the trivia world. Steve Mason, how you doing?
I'm doing very good. Let's not fail to mention I am also one of the finalists competing for the Lights Out Trivia Championship with not only just me, the aforementioned Jordan Pierce-Owen,
yes,
the aforementioned Richie Goodacre, and the recently mentioned or inducted into the finals, Dim Simmons. So
yeah, really good.
It's gonna be I have to talk a little trash for a little bit before we get started on this, but it's gonna be an interesting match. Can't wait to play those three gentlemen. But you are looking at the next Lights Out Trivia Champion.
Ooh,
don't forget about that. It's not about the trivia. This is about MCU. This is about MCU TV shows, where we're ranking from some of the mediocre to some of the best television that's been offered from the early 2021 to late 2022. So
right, you're right. It was a new frontier for the MCU for them to pull out the Disney Plus shows. When they announced it, everyone was pretty excited. I know I was. Some people have mixed feelings now. They want them cut back a little bit. I can understand. We'll get into why when we rank them. I think you'll see a pattern here. But before we get started, we're going to bring in our returning panel member from last week. And it looks like he has a better internet connection than he had last week, which is a great thing. He was also in the match last night. It was unfortunate for him. He didn't get his categories, so that happens. He will be playing again, though. Chris Diaz, how's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be on the panel again, along with my team partner over at TMG Geek Trivia. You know, we do pretty well at MCU, but hey, I love MCU. Even though the TV been hit and miss, some really bad miss, we will get to them. But I here to top at Marvel, and I love Marvel. And I can't wait to see where they go from this year with the TV stuff with Secret Invasion and Loki season 2. But let's talk about the phase 1 of TV phases. So fun.
Indeed, yes. We got the Lights Out ranked MCU phase 4 Disney Plus shows. So, as you guys know, if you watched last week, and if you're watching and you are here and you're in the comments, when we go to each one, give a quick thought. In the comments, I'll throw them on the screen. Join the conversation. It'll be fun. Me personally, what happens is I rank them on my own scale. I got my own deal that I do. I got 6 subcategories. I get 1 to 5 points for each subcategory. And then whatever the total number is, I rank them down the list, and we'll see how it works out. Those categories are storytelling, action/visuals, characters, ending/post-credits, the impact of the MCU as a whole, and rewatchability. And we had a really close list last week. I think we might have a lot of differing opinions, and it makes me excited. I want to get into it because this is going to be fun. So, to get started, I'm going to go right now with my very first pick, which is the very bottom of the list. And I actually kind of liked this show. It wasn't my favorite. There was aspects of this show that I didn't like. The ending, I gave a 1. I did not like the ending at all. I thought the ending was absolute garbage. And there was a lot of this that just did not hit for me, but I still think it was kind of funny. My number 7, and I'll there's 8 shows. The reason it's number 7 is because there's a tie. There will be a tie. So with 12 points, She-Hulk. 12 points. And Chris, he got She-Hulk in there. So I'll start. So She-Hulk for me was not that great. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good at all. When I started watching it throughout the first and second and third episodes, I was kind of getting into it, but they really threw me off at the end, especially the ending. I think the fact, and I get it, I know that She-Hulk in the comics busted out of the comics and did the whole thing, but that was too meta for me personally. Like, I want to bust through the Disney Plus thing and then go talk to Kevin and then change the ending. And then all of a sudden, spoilers, but Hulk shows up with Scar and it's like, hi, we're here. Bye. See ya. Didn't work for me at all. But I will say this to give it a little bit of a plus. When this show was coming out, there was a lot of people that was trashing the CGI and how that went. I did not hate that part of it that much. I thought she looked okay. It wasn't that big of a deal for me. But Steve, what do you got to say about this? How do you feel about She-Hulk? Was it your last? Was that your least favorite?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't my least favorite. Since we're going to talk about She-Hulk, I actually put it out of 8. I put it in 6.
Okay.
I was
really.
I was entertained by it. I really liked it more than a lot of people were saying about it, and obviously I liked it more than you guys liked it. I was watching with my family, and they seemed to enjoy it. And I think as watching this as a communal experience with my folks, it's really. I mean, it's not the greatest thing, but I saw Tatiana.
Maslany.
There you go. I think she did the best she could with the material, and the CGI be damned. And I love that she was like nothing like the typical MCU characters. This was a self-aware character. This was the scream of MCU. If I could say that, I think it's the scream of MCU if we're going to compare self-awareness franchises and everything. And hell, there's even a little bit of funny games in there too. If you ever seen Funny Games, the part where somebody's rewinding a certain death scene, this is also reminiscent too, except not as bloody. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the ending. I really like the ending, and I like the Daredevil and She-Hulk love connection. So that's number 6.
That wasn't bad. Real quick before you go, Diaz, I do have to give a reminder because I completely forgot this. I just gave it an extra point because I added another point for characters because I forgot one of my favorite characters of all time is on this. In fact, to the point that it's my cover picture on my profile page on Twitter. Madison was absolutely amazing. I loved Madison. Madison was amazing. Everything about Madison was, she's like my hero. But yeah, go ahead, Diaz. Sorry. If you got any more, Steve, were you done? I'm sorry if I cut you off.
I'm good.
All right. Diaz, what do you think about She-Hulk? It was your last. So how do you feel?
I think my problem with it to show it very inconsistent. I think there's some really good episodes and then there really bad episode of show I don't really like. I don't like the Asgardian episode. I think that is a little bit stupid. Like, even though I do like the storyline with the sets of co-workers, like have come up a little bit, some of it. Like, I think Tatiana Maslany, who I've been a big fan of since the Orphan Black days on BBC. Shout out to one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I've been a big fan of her. She does do the best she can with the show. I think she and Matt Ruffalo really do have good chemistry together when they have things together. Wong is fantastic. I think Wong is consistently one of the funniest things about the show. Like when he realized he might end up going to jail because he broke out Abomination, like, I had to go. Bye. Like, that just me right on the spot. Like, I see Abomination good. I see Tim Roth. When I see Tim Roth bad, I see some of his job, like the 7 Wives joke, were really funny. Like, like.
Yeah, there was some definitely some good comedic portions for there.
Yeah, and I think and the Matt Murdock episode was good. I think there are some really bad episodes that brought it down for me. Like, I see. I see a show that could get better in the next season with better writing. I see the writing is often the weakest part of the show. Sometimes you try to be Ally McBeal, but doesn't do it well.
Yeah, fair enough. And Brian's in the house. He said he loves seeing Mark Lynn Baker, best known as Larry Appleton from Perfect Strangers, show up in this series. I don't even know who that
And
is.
I thought that they waste such a great actress for the good place in such a wasted role. I thought that role should take down the mark because you have one of the funniest actresses from the good place. So you said that role. Why?
Yeah, indeed. And, and like I said, last on the list for me doesn't mean it was necessarily bad. It just means it was not as, it was the worst of the bunch, in my opinion.
Also, not the worst use, not the worst betrayal to a Daredevil character. We will get to the other one, depending on when you rank.
Yeah, the Daredevil character was okay.
We will
It's
get to the other
difficult.
character when we get to the other show.
Yeah, yes, it's difficult for me because I watched the Netflix series, so seeing how Matt Murdock was there and then seeing him in here, I wasn't like disappointed really, but it just didn't. I'm ready to see more, maybe if that's a good way to put it. I'm gonna go to number 6 now. If you guys are ready for my number 6, this one for me was also not necessarily bad, but I just really couldn't connect with this series. I liked it, but and I don't really have anything bad per se to say about anything. I thought that the story was okay. Uh, I thought that the action and the visuals were okay. It was a little goofy. I didn't really connect with any of the characters really. The ending was okay. Not much impact, in my opinion, from the MCU, and I really don't think I would really watch this again. Number 6 with 14 points. It's just Miss Marvel.
My.
Oh, we got our big debate coming. Oh man. Oh man.
A lot debate.
She-Hulk was his number 6. Okay, that matches up, I believe, with
My
Steve.
number 6 is way different from your number 6.
All right. Well, yeah. See, with this one right here, for me, it wasn't necessarily bad. It's just not anything that I could really connect with. It just didn't really hit when I compare it. But I did enjoy it. I watched all of it. I watched every single bit when every episode came out. I was invested to watch it. I just don't think that it was my favorite. There was just a little bit of a misconnect. Diaz, what do you got? What do you got? Was this your number 6? You seem like you had Miss Marvel higher.
No, should I save it for when we get higher? Should I talk about it now?
No, just where did you rank Miss Marvel?
This is my number 1. This actually is my favorite Disney Plus.
Oh, snap! Oh yeah, go ahead and take some time and tell us about your favorite show.
I think what works so well where I don't get with other shows besides maybe WandaVision is that I love the family. I don't love her family to death. I think they're just relatable and funny, and that I could don't watch show about them, that her and them interact together. I think Bruno is a great character. I think the episode where they focus on her ancestry past is really interesting, especially for history buff. I think that really a great episode. I think you talk about Impact MCU. It introduced mutants. Like that's the first time you actually hear the X-Men mutant, and then the word mutant get mentioned. Like
fair.
And I think that she's just a likable lead character. I think you love her relationship with her dad. I love this scene where her dad talked about where the name come from. I think that's arguably one of the most relevant in the MCU show to me. Like I think the writing, especially with the mom and the dad, are really well brought on. I think Bruno's a great character. I think it's funny, it's sweet, the action scene is good. I think the villain, even though I wish they could have landed Danny a little bit better, was good villain. I think every episode had great moments of just like getting you emotionally, and it's realistic. Like, I love the scene when the police show up at her religion and everybody pull out their card because they know the police will press the card, at that moment to come. And it's just very relatable, very realistic time. Probably some of the best family in any MCU thing. I think everybody give a phenomenal performance. I can't wait to see what they go with season 2 and the Marvel. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Miss Marvel is my favorite thing. Like
that, I'll be honest, I'm a bit surprised, but I'm not disappointed. I like it. I mean, hey, if that's
my number 1 and number 2 switch. If we see your number 1 to my number 1.
We'll see. I'm excited to hear about that. I will say before I'm gonna go to Steve real quick. I'm curious if the rings from Shang-Chi connect with the bangles. It might not. Steve, how did you feel about Miss Marvel, and did this also hit your least or second to least favorite?
So you got JB3 got that at the near bottom. Diaz has all over the top. I have it right in the middle. I have it number 4. I like to express the same sentiments that Diaz says. The family is very likable. The performances of all the family members are extremely great, especially the lead. I don't have that off the top of my head, but like I thought this felt like the Juno of MCU. This felt like this had a lot of Diablo Cody vibe going to it, from the cinematography to the dreams and the Notebook, showing her dreams of wanting to be an Avenger and everything. And like you said, there's like a lot of history, Indian history, being played as canon for MCU, and I thought that was very interesting. And yeah, there's not much more to say that DS hasn't said already, but I have it at number 4.
Very interesting. So we're all around the board with that one.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you say it didn't have any impact, because the ending is like the biggest eye-opening thing in Phase 4.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to say any impact.
Black Panther, the only other one that mentioned mutants, so it's only been mentioned twice.
I gave it a 2. And then Brian says he doesn't think they'll do a second season because some of the characters from the series will be in the Marvels. I mean, that's fair. Sometimes that's like I feel like that's the case with like WandaVision because of Doctor Strange. But I'm going to go ahead and it's his number 5. So yeah, it looks like all across the board, which is actually really interesting. My number 5, I gave it 18 points. Again, like I said, we're starting to get into the area where it might be my third to the bottom, but I didn't necessarily dislike this at all. I actually really did like the show. I thought that there was a good, decent story. There was good, decent action, fight scenes, and visuals. The character work was really, really decent. I love the ending because it introduced a brand new character, or I should say an updated character. And I think it had some good impact on MCU because of Valentina. And I could probably watch this a few times. So my number 5 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier with 18 points. Totally liked the show. I thought it was fun. You got Bucky, you got Sam. You had the idea, like there was a lot of depth and there was a lot of emotion that was tied to this. I actually got teary-eyed on quite a few bits on this show. Seriously, because there was a lot of deep emotion going into it. U.S. agent, or what was the name? John Walker. I can't remember his name. Whatever it is. He did okay. I will say when he took that dude out with the shield, that I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So nothing really negative to say. It just kind of fell where the points fell. But introducing the new Captain America and then the title switch at the end where it said Captain America and the Winter Soldier, that was cool. And I love the dynamic between Bucky and Sam. And that goes all the way back to Civil War when they were tied up together in the webbing. Like it was almost like they were destined to have some type of a, like a little brotherhood there. Steve, how did you feel about this, and did this match up?
Yes, actually, I have it at number 5.
Okay, nice.
Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are BFFs forever. They have really good repertoire with one another. I thought the script reflected very well. And yeah, we've got a Black Captain America, despite a lot of unfortunate things being said about that. With the reaction to Twitter for having that being said. I mean, it was already revealed in comic version, but it had to have it on the MCU to make it part of the canon. I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the fact that there's
the fact that an African American was the first ever super soldier too.
Yep.
So that I love everything that they did with it. Now, the only thing that I have a problem with was the inconsistencies of the villain of the group, the terrorist group. One say revolutionary, what's sad about the orphans, and then the orphanage blew up, and then she didn't give a fuck, and she's like, bitch, pick a fucking side to be on. Stop being inconsistent. No fault to the actress, just inconsistent writing there. So yeah, Falcon. No, let's cross that. Captain America and the Winter Soldier, number 5.
Indeed, Brian looks like he gave it to number 7. It was a little bit lower on his list that he has. Diaz, where did you place this on your list?
I think I might either 5 or 4. I had to do the ranking in my head a little bit, just to back and forth with some of them. I do love this show. I think this. I would say this probably had one of the stronger finale. I think some of the Marvel show does stick the landing. I think this does a good job of sticking the landing, especially introducing Falcon and Captain America at the end, especially we come in with the deal and everything. That's a phenomenal thing. I think they do what Shang-Chi did at his Zemo and does a much better job as Zemo in this than they do in Civil War. I love Zemo in this. I want to see more of him. I hope they either do another season or we see him more in Thunderbolt or anything. I think he was just an entertaining character. His dance and the infamous dance that everybody made fun of nowadays. It's fun. I think Bucky part is amazing. I like him regretting some of the stuff he did in Winter Soldier and trying to make amends. Like his connection to Wakanda stuff was great. See, a great dramatic show. Like not my top tier. I put one of it, and I put one in Miss Marvel with a little bit more definite emotional impact. I got more emotional with Marvel a little bit. But yeah, I love Falcon Winter Soldier. It's a great show. The villain could have been better. I thought everything else, especially Wyatt Russell, right, that play Agent Walker.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell. That's correct.
Yeah. Yep.
Love that actor. Can't wait to see if he's done that. He's great. He's just as good as his father is. So yeah, he's really good at this show. But the villain can have been better because I do like her in Solo, and I wish they give him much better stuff to do than this. But yeah, very big thumb up for me.
Indeed, yeah, and I will say that they did do a few things also as a plus for me. They connected. I think it was one of the first shows that came out that they really started to connect the Thunderbolts tease with Valentina and a lot of the characters that are going to be in that movie. Also, yeah, the Wakandan presence. I like that connecting point because the White Wolf. I loved when she just said, clunk, 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 arms off, you're done. That was like each day, that's ours. That's our tech. We know that better than anybody. So I did agree with that. I'm going to move it forward. So next on the list is a tie.
I'm interested to see where one of my least favorite ranking on yours now.
All right, so I'm gonna give these two next ones that I do. I'll start with this first one, and they're tied at number 4 for me. I gave them the same amount of points. I was not gonna include this at first, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna include it. It's there. To me, I know it's technically canon, but to me, it's kind of not. But it is. But I understand why they did it because in the timeline that this came out, this is when all the multiverse stuff was coming around, so they really had to give fans the idea of all these different multiverse or universes where all these different things could happen. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, my first number 4 is What If. 20 points. So I think that's a pretty good score. I scored it pretty high on a lot of things. The only thing I gave it a lowish score on is MCU Impact, just because it's still, who knows where that's going to fall and how that's going to play out. I will say that Agent Carter being in Doctor Strange, that was kind of almost like a connect for me also. I did give it really good scores for the ending because Natasha and how she was able to be placed in that universe where she fit in and she was needed and wanted, to me almost gave her a little bit of justification for everything that happened with Endgame, because a lot of people were mad about no funeral, no recognition. She just, so I think it done her a little bit of good justice. And I watched every episode, and now if anybody knows He Be Chillin', that's what we call my son. I was watching this with my son, and we started watching each episode, and I predicted it. I said, Zeke, I said, at the end of this, it's all going to connect, and they're all going to do something. And he was like, no, they're not. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And it did, and I thought it really ended well. Diaz, what did you got to think? Where did you place What If, and what do you think about it? Did you like? I know you didn't watch all of them, right?
Yeah, I think most of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this show. I think probably my number. It straight back to for my 5th and 5 or 4th, depending on my mood. I think the Tron episode. I think the T'Challa episode is a great spin-off for Boseman. Before Stanley passing. I think the Doctor Strange episode still really good when he tried to say his girlfriend, like going back in time and see how that messed up there is. I think the Hank Pym episode is creepy. Like the fact that he's taking all of the Avengers down one by one is a great episode. And I think, and I love a lot of them. I think it's strong. I like the impact it had when, in Doctor Strange wrote the very bad and Angels called it as well as Strange Zombie and well the Strange Supreme, he had mutual battle with. You should connect a little bit to that Doctor Strange episode. Yeah, I enjoyed this show a lot. I look forward to season 2. I think my favorite episode, the Angels Carter episode, I do like that. Especially with the trick shot of Steve and her around, I thought were really nice. And the way they tie back to that at the end of the show, with them reuniting, I thought that was a little bit neat. Give you a happy ending there a little bit. So yeah, I'm pretty high on this show. I'm trying to see what you have at time. Maybe you have one of my least favorite time with this. So let's see.
Yeah, I could totally watch this too. Also, I could watch this a lot. It's one of those things. I will say personally, the intro is probably one of my favorite intros of a TV show. I kept quoting. I kept saying, "What if?" to my son. He would laugh. It was a good time. But yeah, I love the fact that on this you could watch one episode. You cannot watch or just leave it alone. You can watch multiple episodes. You can put it all together. Steve, where did you have this on the list? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it mid? How do you feel?
All right, so this is presented by Mesa Media. This is called my bottom bitch pick. So this is number 8.
Whoa.
Yes. Now, just because I call it the bottom bitch pick doesn't mean I hate it. It's just the weakest of all of them, in my opinion. Now,
More than you.
Yes, yeah, more than She-Hulk. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like I was watching hours of video game cinematics. I don't know about you. That was an extreme turnoff for me. Like I understand where they were trying to go with the comic book style, and they're like, oh, let's do it. But it's like, and also the acting, oof, dude, it's one of the. I don't know what it was that they were. I don't know what they were doing when they were doing voice acting, but voice act. Chadwick Boseman. Besides Chadwick Boseman, that's
right. That was already on my mind. I was gonna say something, be like, well,
besides that,
for
besides that, but all everybody else that was doing their roles just flat as fuck, flat fuck Friday, guys. But they were like flat. The voice acting was flat. I felt no emotions. It was like everybody was speaking in German, but in English accents. I don't know if you know what I mean, but like, you know how Germans are very non-expressionistic in terms of their okay, so that's what I felt from their voice acting. I feel like there was like no emotion, no connected emotions to the voice acting. I felt it was just like project like it was like an act onto an act. I didn't feel connected whatsoever. Again, very interesting storylines. I love how Ultron was like just wanted to take out every single person on the timeline and then just focus solely on the narrator, and that led to the last couple of the last episode or last couple of episodes. So I do like the certain storylines to it, but for me, this is the bottom bitch pick of the week for me.
Yeah, that Thanos they got split in half was too, man. It was just quick and easy.
That Killmonger had biggest storyline I like well in the show.
Yeah, so, but Michael B. Jordan's acting flat, man. I don't know. It's something about the voice acting and the CGI that just didn't gel well with me. Maybe that's why I have it at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah, but not terrible though. Not
terrible. And I know that some of the actors from the movies reprised their roles, and some did not. They had to pick some new actors to play certain roles. But yeah, it was Chadwick Boseman's last thing that he did for the MCU. R.I.P. to that legend. Yeah, for sure. And I thought that he was actually really good. But I can agree with what Steve says on a lot of that, but I can also agree with what Diaz says on a lot of that. But what if number 4 for me, but not the last one for Steve? I'm going to go to my next one. I actually just finished this today. I tried to watch this when I first started watching this. I didn't really get too much into it, but I didn't really give it a chance. It's also 20 points. For this one, the story was I gave a good 3 for the story. Action visuals I gave 4. Characters I gave 4. Ending I gave 4 because I really liked the ending and the post credit. The impact I gave a 2 because the only reason I give it a little lower score on the impact sometimes is that it might not impact it yet. I'm sure that it will later. And rewatchability, I could watch this probably a few times if you guys haven't figured it out yet. My number 4, the second one of my number 4s with 20 points is Moon Knight. Moon Knight.
Wow, you high on one of my least favorite coming up pretty good.
I like this. Okay, so is this bottom of the pack for you, Diaz?
No, I love this show.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
But
no,
yes.
But the one that you have brought up that now you're pretty high on, we're beginning to that pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. See, if I would have ranked this before, I would have gave it low. But when I actually watched it, and it did one of the things in this show that the MCU is really, really is known for, and it was planting seeds and planting the seeds in and for something later. Now, I went into this, I didn't know anything about the comics. I didn't know anything about who Moon Knight was. I never read one of the comics. I never even knew that he was a superhero. So we get to episode 3, and you got Mark and you got Steven, and all of a sudden they do the Flash, little time gap thing that they do. And all of a sudden he was like, Mark's like, Steven, what did you do? And Steven's like, what do you mean, what did I do? And at that moment I was like, oh snap, there's a third person there. Who is it? And it's like, oh, okay. So they're gonna just plant the seed. I was thinking, are they gonna tell the early? They didn't talk about that until the way in. And I know if anybody watched knows this character, they probably already knew who it was, but I didn't. And going through and watching the end, and I'm not really big on all all the deity stuff that they do, but I actually really consider this a nice, very nice show. I enjoyed it a lot. And the acting. Yes, for sure. Like, it was incredible. You got Ethan Hawke. I don't even know who the main character, who's the actor that plays the main character.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, incredible.
And then the girl from Rami on Hulu played the girlfriend on Austin.
Yeah, absolutely incredible acting there. Amazing. Steve, tell me your thoughts. Where did you rank Moon Knight?
I rank Moon Knight a little higher than you did, because you have it on 4. I actually have it on 3. Number 3.
Okay.
You didn't have no knowledge of. I knew of the character. I didn't know completely all of it. All I knew, he was what they called the Batman of Marvel. That's what I had in my mind. And then when the show started with a meek, mild-mannered Oscar Isaac with a British accent, kind of sound like Michael Caine a little bit. Yeah. But like,
what a wonderful switch and change from the accent to an American accent. I mean,
it's the personalities were like fucking wow. Like, it's the ending. God, dude, what the fuck, in a good way. What the fuck in a good way. Oscar Isaac is one of my favorite actors. He delivers no matter how bad or good the movie is. He's really good in whatever he's in. My favorite performance of his is inside Llewyn Davis. So I think it's it's a masterclass of performance. And by the way, not to be a look at me Louie here, but I actually know his brother, Michael Hernandez, who was actually playing the role of Mark Spector / Steven when they were doing doubles. That's his brother, but with a little prosthetic to the end of it with his nose.
Mhm.
They don't really have the same nose, but I actually knew his brother when I was hosting FSU, Florida International University's student radio that focused on movie reviews. I would go on his radio show and review films back in the day. And so that's another personal connection that I have with it. Ethan Hawke being a fucking bad guy. I mean, who would have thought he'd be a bad guy?
And he played it so well.
I think this is also his first bad guy role because he was a bad guy after this in black film, but before that he never played a black bad guy because he didn't like the connection of being typecast as a villain and so. But and we get our first Egyptian superhero. And this girl's name, I don't know.
It goes for Wami, right? We forget the actress name.
May Kalamaway, Layla El Faou.
Layla.
Yeah, so first Egyptian superhero. I mean, we're getting like first everything, Black Captain America, first Egyptian superhero, Indian Miss Marvel. So I mean, representing, man, ethnicity representing, brother.
And you know what? Not to cut you off, but me personally, I think that's important to have that representation, because any little kid or anybody that can be influenced by these things, even if it's just a superhero movie, but even from the aspect of being an actor, if they watch this, it will let them know, like, I could do this, And I think that it's I know the word progressive has different meanings for some people, but like, I think that when you progress into these frontiers with the representation of different nationalities and ethnicities and everything, I think that this is really important, and it's a really good thing. I enjoy that aspect of what you just said, Steve, how all of the representation has been being shown in these shows, and it's amazing.
Yep, that's about it. You cut me off at the right time, so no worries.
All right, Diaz, what did you feel about Moon Knight?
I'm about to make in my head here on the board. In my number 4, I think. That is amazing, sir. I think the second to last episode, I think one of the top 5 best episodes for any new MCU TV show. I think. When they go down into Moon Knight past, stuff with his mom and you getting all those flashbacks, one of Oscar the best acting performance I've ever seen him give anything. He really should have got Emmy nominated for this show. Like, Ethan Hawke amazing. I love my girlfriend Wami. Like, I think she's great on this show. She's great on Wami well. Big fan of just actress for a while. I think I read the last episode a little bit better. I just wish they found a better Justice Delaney. It became too CGI fest. But I think the stuff with the Egyptian time, I think the God was great. I think the mythology is great. And the ending is great. Like, the last episode will bring it down for me a little bit, just because it's the weakest episode of the show. But the episode before, top 5 worthy episode for any MCU TV show.
That's bold, and I like it. Before we move on, I just want to say too, when I was talking about the seed for what is it, Jack Lockley, I think that's his name, or Loxley, or however they pronounce it, or whatever it is. It not only did it set up a season 2. Me and Steve were talking about whether or not we like season 2s, or if we're going to get into if we are even excited about a season 2. I'll say I'm excited for Moon Knight to have a season 2. I know I seen something that when they posted on social media, it started with saying it's a series finale, but then they changed it to season finale, and I would be totally hyped to watch season 2 of some Moon Knight. So yes, we're going to continue on. We have 3 left. So I got my number 3 here. I just recently rewatched my number 3 a few days ago, and I ran right through it like it was butter. I watched it so fast and so quick. Not a problem at all. I gave it 21 points. It only got one more point than Moon Knight and What If for me, but it's still ranked up there. Diaz, you were talking about the family atmosphere, and for me personally, one second. For me personally, the family aspect of this show hit me on a personal level, big time. The story I gave it 4, the action visuals I gave it right in the middle, across the line. Characters, this is one of the only ones for me that got a 5 in characters, because the characters in the show for me was just immaculate. I loved it. I thought it had decent ending / post credits. The MCU Impact, rewatchability. I could watch this thing over again. I love this show, and one of the things I mentioned in What If about justice for Natasha, I think that this show gave justice for Natasha. And I watched this last scene of the conversation between Clint and Yelena, and I will cry every single time, even when
they're having a conversation about this.
Yeah, when he's looking at the statue, and he's in New York, and he said, "I wish I could talk to you right now." I was like, it broke me. I was like, man, I feel that, because that was his best friend, and of course, number 3, 21 points, Hawkeye. I loved Hawkeye. I mean, the whole story. Now, okay, I'm a father. I got 3 children. So it really hits me. When I watched Endgame, I was drawn to his character. I was drawn to it. Not only were they given a continuation for Ronan and some reprimanding, not only were they introducing new characters, but his main purpose is, I want to get home to my family for Christmas. And that's in like a cool Christmas themed thing, like Christmas themed. Sometimes that's a hit or miss for people, but for me, just that big family aspect. I mean, and all the cool things. I mean, you got Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop. The inspiration that she got from Hawkeye, he was the only one who didn't, well, not the only one, but one of the only ones that didn't have any powers, and he jumps off a building, and she was inspired to shoot arrows. She's really, really good. They have this connection with each other. They become friends, and he teaches her how to pop the thing, and that led to the very final thing that she did in that battle. For me, like, this hit marks for me. Yeah, this show hit so many marks for me, and I scored it pretty high because of it. I try not to be biased about it, but there's just too much that I liked. And it introduced or reintroduced another Netflix series character in the Kingpin, and they made him a big bad. I know that maybe some people don't like it, but I do. I don't. Now, I will say this as a side note. I don't think he was as impactful yet as he was in the Netflix series. But, in the Disney Plus shows, you can't really decapitate a man with a car door. What do you do? Diaz, real quick, where did you rank Hawkeye, and was it close with me?
In my number 7.
Oh no! Diaz doesn't like the show.
Let me get the positive out of the way. Haley Steinfeld and Jamie Bennett are the best thing about the show, and the dog. The stuff that really hurt the show, I think Echo is one unnecessary character that felt put into this show. See, her storyline is great, but it could have been saved for another show, and it just felt kind of random. I think the henchmen are some of the most stupidest henchmen in any MCU TV show. Like the bros, like
come on.
That's annoying. And then I think they rate Rhea Flamingo. I think they rate Brian Deontay James pretty not great. The biggest thing this show come in, and this coming from a fan who loved the Netflix Marvel show, they ruined Kingpin for me with this. Giving him a Ryan shirt, making that weak ass villain that that doesn't seem threatening. You got
comic book though, man.
Damn it, head guys head in a car door and put a coat over another guy and then punch the guy to death. And you make him the Hawaiian Ranger, not stranding at all. Get taken down by, I don't know how old Haley Steinford's character is in the show, by a young girl that's smaller than him. Oh my god. And like, the acting's good, yes. But the character, what they did to Kingpin hurt the show. It really pissed me off to no end. Like, fuck you, Disney. You take one of the best Marvel Netflix characters who deserved an Emmy Award many times for Daredevil TV show and wasted him. I hope they do him better in Echo, and I hope they do him better in Daredevil show.
Yes, chill, dude. Relax.
Diaz is getting heated over here.
Worked up here. Christ.
Everything Hawkeye, everything Haley fantastic. That was being for making stuff was giving better stuff to do. Than the evil mom. And I wish they did a Kid Brian Deontay game off because I love him as like it's one of the Wicked Witchen show, I think, on any MCU show. Like, even though I like Steve Rogers the musical, I like that scene. But that could have been a great.
But you love that end credit too.
Yeah, that could have been a great Disney special, like Rebel by Night, and like the Johnny Reality Christmas special.
Steve wants to talk. Diaz, I didn't know you were gonna get so heated about Hawkeye, bro. Bro, come on.
Bro, come on, man.
Steve, Steve, about Hawkeye.
Not as passionate as Diaz is, but I do have it at number 7 as well. It's very mid. It's there, the show. It's like, the only thing I'll say that are the best parts about it is Haley Steinfeld. She is the MVP of that fucking show, and I think she saves that show from being not great. And yeah, I'm not as angry as Diaz about Kingpin, but it did kind of take the mystique away from Kingpin that was developed in Daredevil, and I know they were trying to reintroduce the character into the Disney MCU, and they kind of Disney-fied him in a way. They kind of made him a Disney villain, a very kid-friendly Disney villain in a show compared to where he was in Daredevil and Netflix. But like I said, I totally understand where he is coming from in that aspect. But then again, I have a little love for the Hawaiian shirt there, cause only one thing, cause a friend of mine, Mr. Eddie Torres, he's a wrestler. He's actually cosplays as Kingpin for Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling, and he doesn't wear the Hawaiian shirt. In a world where you have Kingpin facing the Clerks from the Clerks movie, you guys got to check that out. It's a Raleigh SuperCon GalaxyCon show on YouTube. Check that out. Hell, they even had freaking Dante and Randall powerbomb Kingpin through a Christmas decorated table. It's making you think about Hawkeye, how they're playing him like as a clown a little bit. But go ahead.
I will say this: Yelena was often one of the only good highlights of the show. I thought like just over her and Hawkeye. So,
I loved her. Kate Bishop.
By the way, Florence Pugh.
She was like,
I want us to with Kate Bishop and Yelena show together.
Florence Pugh, you know everything about me. Like, yeah.
Florence Pugh's being the second best part about that. Just Florence Pugh, all day, every movie, every show. Put her in everything because she's awesome.
She is amazing.
And when you were on last week, made her defending Black Widow.
But she's the best part about Black Widow. Her and maybe David Harbour.
Yeah, thank you, David Free and Jordan Peterson.
I mean, I didn't hate him. I was like, but he was funny. He was funny. All right. Well, we're gonna continue on. That was crazy because that was actually one of my favorites. But man, I think Diaz was getting mad, but that's okay. That's
like your number 1 and 2. I agree with you. I will say that.
Well, let's see which is number 2 and which is number 1 at this point.
Well, for me personally, I'll go to my number 2 and I'll just break down the points. I won't give any spoilers away. I'll just break down the points. Okay. So for my number 2, for the story, I gave it a 4. For the action / visuals, I gave it a 3. Characters 4. Ending 4. MCU Impact 4, ReWatchablility 3. I thought, you know what? I think I could watch this quite a few times. I actually really loved it. This was, and this is going to give it, this is going to be a dead giveaway here. This was the first Disney Plus show
Whoa.
to exist. WandaVision, 22 points. I loved WandaVision. It was great. You got, now they had to start this off with a bang. You needed characters that we knew. You needed stories that we could connect with. You got, Wanda. They teased a lot of stuff in Endgame, but one of the things they teased at the end is after the funeral. You could tell that she was really, really grieving Vision still after what happened in Infinity War, and he didn't get any justice. It seems as it was almost like connecting with the Black Widow problem, is that no one even cared that he died and how he died, and the fact that he actually died twice. And for Wanda, she had the moment where she blew up the Mind Stone, and then it got rewinded, and then she had to watch him get it pulled out of his head. So that aspect of it, I mean, it was very deep. It led all the way into her, getting the Darkhold, the chaos that ensued with the multiverse of madness, her being this crazy, like bloodthirsty villain because she just wanted to be a mom. All of that led all the way into this. Then you got the characters that it introduced. It introduced Monica, and I thought that was great. They already teased like she got problems with Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel was her friend at the end, and it's probably because she just disappeared. I mean, we don't know. We're gonna find out, but that's something. It introduced her powers. I got a few negative things to say, but before I get to that, real quick, I do want to say I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely love that all these C characters from other movies got focused on here. Kat Dennings, Darcy. She's now, got a real job. She got out of college. She's super smart. She's a key figure. You got, what's his name? The agent from Ant-Man. What's his name? I can't remember.
Randall Park. The Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo. He was awesome. They made them actually not just be like, I'm this dumb comedy character, but like I actually can be valuable to, to the story, to the team. And then so many things with like glitches in the editing throughout the first parts of the show. It was unique. I thought that they played it very well. The love between Vision and Wanda. I mean, guys, what is grief if not love persevering? So I'll go to you first, Steve. What did you think about WandaVision?
I agree with you. It's number 2. It's revolution. It's a revolutionary TV show for the fact that it's being the first MCU on Disney Plus television show. That sets a precedent, and it also sets a precedent of things to come, which sets up the events to come in Doctor Strange. But without WandaVision, we don't have Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, because it becomes a ripple effect, and everything that occurs, it becomes the new wave of phase 4 into phase 5. So it's amazing that way. Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen. I think Elizabeth Olsen, besides Angela Bassett, I think Elizabeth Olsen gave one of the greatest performances in MCU history as Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange. I don't think a lot of people talk enough love about Elizabeth Olsen, let alone her performance here and in Doctor Strange. And Catherine Hahn, come on. Yeah. From comedic actress to fucking Agatha. Jesus, she became like the queen of memes for the first half of 2021 with all those Agatha knows best. Tarana Paris going from Spike Lee and Dear White People to Justin Simeon and Spike Lee to here. It's an amazing jump off. She gets to earn that Marvel money. I'm glad for her. And come on, can we give it up for Mrs. Foreman, Deborah Jo Rock? Come on, guys.
Yes.
I love seeing
Yes.
Deborah Jo Robb in MCU. Give me more Deborah Jo Robb because
She's awesome.
she watching her in there and then reloving that '70s show through that '90s show this year. She's one of the best.
She's
and
incredible.
and like format halfway through the show, we get the real story, what's going on, and I thought it was great. Second best show in Phase 4, probably out of all the TV shows thus far. And yeah, not much more to say about that.
All right, Diaz. This is
This
not.
is my number 2.
This
Right
is your
behind
number
Miss
2.
Marvel.
Well, yeah, because your number
Yeah.
1 was Miss Marvel, so that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it kind of we
I
matched.
love a lot of it. This is a show I fell in love with. My favorite episode from any other Marvel TV show is the second last episode about Wanda Path. You know what it speak about love, that whole line, and then everything. I thought that one of the most beautifully written episodes of any Marvel TV show. And the thing when she sees Vision's body, okay, I cannot feel you. I cried. Like I remember just sitting in my living room just crying for about. I think what they did with Wanda and Fantastic, the Agatha is a phenomenal villain. Paul Bettany is fantastic in this show. I think he doesn't get enough credit how good he is in this show. I like his relationship with Wanda. The only negative, and I think that one of Disney's biggest FU to fan was on Christopher guy. Like, I forget the actor's name, but that he Dick Boomer, like that whole reveal.
Evan Peters, Pietro Maximoff, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that reveal is one of the most stupid FU to fan I ever seen. Like,
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either.
Yeah.
Ralph Boner.
But I thought he was great. Before that reveal, I loved the episode format. Elizabeth Olsen should have won an Emmy for this. I think this is the most Emmy would. She is the best performance in Phase 4. Besides Garfield, besides Angela Bassett, and a few others. And the guy who played Shang-Chi Dad. Like, those are the top 5 favorite performances from Phase 4. Like, yeah, I love this. We didn't talk about the other one when we get to it, but this and Miss Marvel were close 1 and 2 for me. They only will flip-flop. I do think the villain WandaVision does hurt. Besides Agatha is great, but the villain on the other side of the thing, a little weak. Must say shrilly villain a little bit. And hey, they did Darcy better. Given that Kat Denny less annoying this than she's been in the Thor movie. Like,
Kat Denny.
I love Kat Denny. She's
a goddess.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
She's incredible. Yeah. WandaVision definitely hits the marks. And I do got to say, the Quicksilver thing kind of threw me off too. But I understand why they did it. It would be nice if they got the other guy. I can't remember his name.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah. And it was Aaron something. Which is hilarious because both of the actors played in Kick-Ass, which is funny to me.
Yeah. Aaron Taylor Johnson becoming a great actor now. So who knows? Maybe they'll bring him back one day in a weird way.
All right. So the number 1, everyone knows it now. This I gave 24 points. I gave a lot of points for this. I literally could watch this movie or this series over and over again. This is the only other category I gave a 5 in, and that was in MCU Impact. I mean, come on! Like, this is what started everything. This is the moment that started all of the multiverse. Everything. Jonathan Majors made his first appearance, doing crazy stuff. The story, like, everyone knew when watching Endgame, they were like, oh, they're going to do a Loki series. Everyone knew that. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it up now, 24 points. Everyone knew that Loki was going to be a thing. They did. Everyone knew that Loki was going to be a thing. And then you watch Endgame, and then you see him grab the Space Stone in 2012 and then disappear, and you're like, oh, snap. That's where it's going to be. And I was anticipating it the whole time. Now, I could be also a little biased on this too, because I am a time travel nerd. I love time travel. I love everything about time travel shows. Whenever anything comes out that has to do with time travel, I'm glued. So the story was really, really good. You got this evil version of Loki, who in the normal MCU timeline, went through all these trials and went through all these ordeals that turned him into basically, if not anything, and a good guy. I mean, he was almost like he loved his brother, and you got to see the transition happen in a different way here. So to the point where he got popped up, he got hit in the cheek with the time slowing down stick or whatever that B-16 had, and then he goes to the time door and he's like, "I got the Infinity Stone," and then there's all these Infinity Stones.
Mhm.
I mean, he's like, "What is this place? This is crazy." And then when he watches the rest of he watches the rest of the stuff and he sees his mom die, and he sees Odin die. I cried with him because it was almost like he was reliving all those moments again, like in a shortened amount of time. And then he sees his own death and he realizes, oh my gosh, and everything it's like crazy how you feel. So then it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, the next variant that we're chasing is you. So they go through this ordeal where they're searching for the variant, and then they finds the variant. He goes with the variant. Then they got this weird, kind of sick but kind of cool love story that they got. And then when they started to connect with each other, the branch was going crazy. All in all, Owen Wilson. Wow. That's all.
Wow.
Damn, you got. Yeah, wow. You got Owen Wilson, Mobius being Loki's friend. Loki literally, he's wanting to save the world by the time they got to the end, and then at the end of time, and Eliath and all the other Lokis, even the Gator Loki. If you like Easter eggs, they had that. That was a part of it. They're literally, I don't think there was anything in this show that I did not like. I loved everything. All the way to Ravenna, all the way to the fake timekeepers, all the way to He Who Remains, and then that moment when she pushed Loki back through that door and she stabbed him in his heart and took over and did that. All of a sudden, Loki goes back and everything changes, and that was the beginning of not only the multiverse, but also it was the beginning of the King, the Conqueror dynasty beginning. That right there, he said it. If I'm gone, wait till you meet my variants. That was the kickoff point for Kang. It was the kickoff point for the multiverse, and it all happened with one slash right in the chest. So that's all I got to say about that. Diaz, how'd you feel about Loki?
This is my number 3.
Okay.
This is top 3 for me. It's Marvel, WandaVision, and Loki. I think some of the episodes are a little bit inconsistent to me, but I love almost everything about the show. I love the introduction of Kang. I think it's a better introduction of Kang than Quantumania a little bit, just because you don't know what to expect from Kang. I like the mysterious aspect. When he died, we see each other again, so that's threat, he said by saying that. I love Owen Wilson. I think him and Loki had great chemistry back and forth together. I liked it back and forth. Comedy. I see some of the episodes suffer when they're not together. And I think nothing yet. He actually played Loki's love interest. So weird. So let's say I don't love the buddy cop thing between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. I like that aspect. As Ella and Richard Grant is so good when he pop up as classic Loki and
the glorious purpose.
Yeah. That episode was hysterical. It really was hysterical. I love this show. I can't wait for season 2 with
man,
a cameo award winner now. Haven't you seen his name? The guy who played Chuck on Indiana Jones. During this season. I can't wait to see him pop up. Yeah, I love this show. Not my top 2, but it's very close. I think Marvel and WandaVision had more emotional impact for me than Loki did.
Well, Steve?
Yes, sir.
How did you feel about Loki?
Number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1, baby. Number 1 for Shotgun. Man, okay. Again, I'm going to be biased here. They basically, Loki was basically a season in fantasy super cosplay wrestling. They did all the Loki stuff. You have Ravonna being played by a wrestler by Savannah Evans. You had Loki played by a good friend of mine named Jude McKenzie, who's been playing Loki since 2018 in FSCW. He changed from Negan to Loki, so one villain to another. Then you had as Sylvie, you have Kimberly as Sylvie in FSCW. So the fact that we still have characters in FSCW and that this is still resonating right now, and it's resonating through the timelines that are currently happening with Ant-Man and Quantumania and all that jazz. And the fact that it's basically it's kind of like a little bit of Twin Peaks, a little bit. It's a Twin Peaks of MCU. It's weird, it's funny, it's kooky, it's dramatic, has a whole bunch of guest stars. I mean, we got, for the love of God, Oscar nominee Richard E. Grant as old Loki.
Wonderful.
Let's not mention also Spice World co-star. Just the fact that we got a lot of people cool there. I mean, wow. Owen Wilson in the MCU is a welcome addition, and I'm looking forward to what ramifications there are in season 2 for Loki. Everything that you guys said, I'll say in tenfolds, because I'm ready to about to wrap this baby up. So yeah, number 1, Loki, definitely well deserved.
Yeah, we did go a little too long, but I don't think we did too bad. The last thing I'll say about it, one of the best parts that I do enjoy, besides like the visuals and the time travel and everything, Loki got put on trial. He basically, his whole character, his whole meaning, his whole being got put on trial, and he had to come to terms with who he really is and what he really wants out of life. And I am excited I believe, and I have full faith, and I believe that this Loki, this variant that all just knows all these things now and is a completely changed person, will meet Thor. He will there was a line in Endgame. He told him, he said, "The sun will shine on us again, brother." Mm-hmm. And that's going to be this variant of the Loki going and seeing his brother. And it's going to be the Thor we know. I believe that's going to happen. I'm waiting for that to happen. It could happen in the Avengers movie. I don't care. If it could be 3 years from now, I don't care. I want that to happen. And yeah, it was absolutely incredible. B16 or is it B16? I get names mixed up. The TVA agents being Sylvie, revealing to them that they have actual memories. Everyone's a variant. Like all the crazy things that pop out, and then all of a sudden, boom, everything changed. Who are you, Loki? Crazy. But I'm excited for the show. I'm excited for season 2. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for showing up. Steve, for being a part of this. You can check out, if you're in the Florida area and you run a wrestling promotion, and if you're anywhere near that area, get a hold of Steve. He will shoot it. He makes promo videos. He does editing. He does all kinds of stuff. Check him out.
Or get me outside of the United States, baby. Just give me some money, baby. I'll travel. Just give me some money, baby. I'll travel outside of Florida. It don't have to be Florida. I don't have to be stuck in Florida, my friend. I'll go to North Carolina, go to Texas, go to New York, go to New Jersey, go to California, go to South Dakota for all I care. Just give me some money for me to be there, baby, and I will shoot your shit.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Diaz, for being here. 4-time movie trivia. Steve, how many times have you been a movie trivia champion? I'm going to need to know that.
A lot.
Let me double check for records, because I do have records right now, and I do have them on my notes. So let me see. I am a former Wrestling with Trivia champion, the second ever Wrestling with Trivia champion. So there's one. And then I am a former show picks and list champion, current champion right here. Right here hanging at the bottom. You got the current champ at the bottom there. And then when it comes to a show about trivia, gentlemen, I am your current reigning and defending a show about trivia champion at 7 times. 7 times. And not only that,
You got one belt, Steve. You had yet to come back to get the other belt.
Brother, I just put you over. What the fuck you doing? Running me over, brother. I just put you over. Now you're running me down. Come on, brother. Listen, so I am at 10 title defenses. I am at 121 days and counting. And on February 14th, actually, it's already past February 14th. Actually, we are at 141 days as a show about trivia champions. So I am a 9-time overall trivia champion.
And current a show about trivia champion.
Current reigning, defending, 7th reign, 141 days and counting, defending a show about trivia champion.
All right. Well, we got some trivia champions in the house. We got some Marvel lovers in the house. They got some good lists. I really enjoyed the different aspect of, oh, I picked this as low. Diaz picked this as high. A lot of us, we did match a few, but it was kind of across the board. It was appreciated. And yeah, thanks guys again for being here. I love doing this. Normally, I never really did shows like this, but the fact that I can do a show like this and I can invite my friends and we can talk about some nerd stuff just makes me happy. It just makes me extremely happy. So without further ado, from Steve, from Diaz, thank you everybody for being here. It was Lights Out Ranked MCU.